Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I want to teach you how to make the Chevron right angle weave bracelet kit, which is an exclusive kit from Beadaholique.com. So here are some finished examples in different colors, and all of these are available at Beadaholique. We've got a really pretty blue and silver, a purple, white, and silver, and this is what it looks like on. A silver and black, very nice and classic, a pretty bronze and green. And then this one was just really fun. This got a little bit of pink in it as well as green and gold. And then this one here, which is a really pretty pink, cream, and a matte gold. So quite a few different colors to choose from. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make it. When you purchase a kit from Beadaholique, you get all the supplies you need to make that project. So here is what you're going to get with your kit. You're going to get 4mm beads, enough to do a bracelet up to 9 inches long, 3mm beads, some seed beads. These are Miyuki Delicas. You're going to get your beading needles as well as your thread, and this is Fireline in Smoke for this particular project. So really the only thing you need to supply are the scissors. Now also with this kit, you're going to get some bead patterns as well. I'm just going to show them to you here so that you can see that you're not going to need to refer to this video when you're at home doing this kit, although of course you're welcome to. So I'm going to put these guys aside right now, and I'm going to start making this bracelet. So if you look at one of the finished examples, the back side, or what is actually the underside, is all right angle weave. And then we do a top coat embellishment, and then we have a little ball and loop for the clasp. Now the way I constructed this bracelet is I did all the right angle weave and the top coat embellishments in one thread. So for that you would need 10 feet of thread. If that's a little too long for you to work with, you can also just do the right angle weave with one thread, tie it off, which I will show you how to do at the end of this video, and then do the top embellishment in another thread, and then the loop clasp, and then these little beads right here, which goes all the way through in a separate thread. So it's really a matter of what you're comfortable with. And the instructions for the kit will give you the exact measurements you need. I'll also, of course, tell you in this video. So let's begin. Now I'm going to be doing a little cooking show magic here, and when I say that, I mean that I've already got some pieces done up so that we don't have to take time for me to go off camera and bead, so you can just see the progress rather quickly, which I think will help illustrate how actually easy this bracelet is to make and fun. But because of that, I'm not going to measure out my 10 feet of thread. I'm just going to measure out enough to show you the first step, and then I will show you the next step with my finished, my more finished example. All right. So to begin, you'll have your 10 feet of thread, or if you just want to do the right angle weave base part, you'll need 6.5 feet of thread. And onto your needle, you will place 4 4mm beads. You're going to pull them down, leaving a tail of about 8 inches, and you're going to tie a knot. So you're making a loop, just like so. And you're going to do a surgeon's knot. So you're going to actually tie another knot, but you're going to pass through twice. And that's in place of a stopper bead. And it makes it so it's really nice and secure. So this is what we have to start with. And that is our first unit of right angle weave. So then to create your second unit, you're going to make sure that knot is nice and tight. You're going to take your needle, pass back up through the first bead, the second bead, and the third bead. And now this third bead of this unit is actually your first bead of the second unit. So now to complete the second unit, we actually only need 3 beads. So 1, 2, 3, and go back through that first bead, pull it down, and there is your second unit. So now we have to work our thread to get back over here to create our third unit. So go back through 2 beads, And now we're exiting in a position where that can be the first bead of our third unit. So now we need 3 more beads. And we're going to go back through that bead and pull. And now we've got 3 units. And I'm counting the bottom bead to count my units. So 1, 2, 3. Let me show you one more, and then I'm going to show you the next step with an example that I already have worked on. So here, work your way back. So you're really on that edge bead. Pick up 3 more beads. Go back down through. And there is your 4th unit. And you'll just work your thread back to that edge bead so it can become the first bead of the next unit. So that is really all there is to basic right angle weave, which is a really nice stitch to know how to do. So we've got 4 units right there. Now for each of these bracelets, which are about 7.5 inches long in the example I'm going to show you, it takes 24 units. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and already created that. And that's what I meant when I earlier said a little cooking show magic. So here we've got my 24 units. And for this particular pattern, you're always going to want to end on an even unit. So if you make it longer or shorter, just make sure it's 22, 24, 26, 28, and so forth. So let me rethread my needle, and I'm going to show you now how to step up and create the second row of right angle weave, because these are 2 rows wide. Okay, so this is where you end if you've done your 24 units, and this is where your thread is sticking out. So we need to work our thread so that's exiting this bead so we can jump up and create our next row. So we're just going to work our thread through that bead, and now that is the first bead of our first unit of our second row. So now we need to pick up 3 more beads, and we're going to go back through this bead, and there we've just stepped up. So now what we have to do is we have to work our needle and thread back so it's exiting this bead, because this is going to be bead 1 and bead 2 of our second unit of our second row. All right, so here we're going back through that bead, and now we're also going to go through this bead right here. So that is 2 beads for our second unit, and so we just need to pick up 2 more to have a unit of 4. There we go. And now you'll work your thread and needle around again. So you're exiting that edge bead. And now this is going to be bead 1 and bead 2, so you just need 2 more beads. And in this case, you're just going to go through this bead right here. And work your thread around again until you're exiting that edge bead. So we've got 3 units already in our second row. If you ever wanted to make a wider bracelet than this, you would just continue this exact same pattern, continuing to just go down, step up, go down, step up. Okay, I'll do one more just to show you. Here we go. So again, those are our first 2 beads of the next unit, so we need 2 more. And then you just always work your thread and needle around till you're exiting where you want to be exiting to start the next unit. So there we've got the first row, the start of the second row, and you would just continue that same pattern until you reach the end. And at that point, we would start to do our top embellishments. So let me show you what that would look like. And that would look like this. So once you've gone all the way down, you see it's nice and wide and even. So here is how you would end, because there's your starting tail. And then this tail, which had my needle on it, would be right here. So I'm going to remove this piece now and show you how to create the diagonal thread bridges on top of the right angle weave, which is a really nice embellishment. So at this point, here we're exiting, I actually want you to flip your beadwork around. And this probably only matters if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, it might be a little bit different, but I am right-handed, so I am most comfortable with my needle and thread going from right to left. So this is where we're at, and we need to do the top embellishments. To do that, you're going to pick up 2 seed beads, a 3mm bead, and 2 more seed beads. And then you're basically just going to stretch that across one of your units and go up one of these middle beads. Just like that. So those beads are resting on top of your right angle weave. So now we're exiting this bead here, and we're just going to pick up 2 more seed beads, a 3mm, and 2 more seed beads. And we're going to create another bridge of beads. And so we're just going to place our needle and go up through here and pull tight. I'm going to do a couple more of those to show you. So it's really easy. You're just creating a zigzag. 2 seed beads, a 3mm, and 2 more seed beads. And I'll do one more. And you're just working all the way along one row of right angle weave at a time. Now, if you were working with the 10 feet of thread, you would have just continued as I did. If you wanted to work with a shorter amount of thread, you would have tied off before you actually began the embellishment. So you just had your right angle weave piece, and then you would have started a new thread right up here to do the embellishments. And after I finish the embellishments, I'll be able to show you how to tie off a thread and work in your tail. So you're going to see how to do that too. So that is what we have for the first row of embellishments, and you'll work all the way to the end. And when you do that, you're going to end up with this. So you see we've worked all the way to the end. So let me put this piece aside now. Rethread my needle. Excuse me, my needle flew across the table. Okay, so after you've done the last embellishment, your thread is exiting this edge bead going towards the top. So what we need to do is we need to work our thread through our beadwork so that's properly oriented to do the next diagonal bead bridge on what is the first row. So what we do is we go ahead and we take our needle and we work it through the 4mm beads. Okay, so that you are now just exiting out that center bead. At that point, you pick up 2 more seed beads, another 3mm, and 2 more seed beads. And we're just going to now stretch that across that unit and go down this middle bead. And now we're creating that nice chevron pattern. So pick up 2 more seed beads, 3 millimeter, 2 more seed beads, and again, we're just going to stretch it across and go down through that middle bead between your units and pull. And we're going to repeat that. And again. So there we have what you're seeing, how this is ending up as this nice diagonal pattern. And you would just keep doing that until you reach the end. And at that point, you're going to tie off your thread. And then we'll start an entirely new thread to do what is going to be these little center beads. Actually, that color might be hard to see it in. Here we go. To do the center beads, the little ball, and the loop. So let me pull out a piece that is at that point. So here we go. And you see, we've completed it all the way to the end. And at this point, we need to tie off our thread. So I do want to show you how to do that. So we have our tail, which is right here, and then here was our active thread. Now the tail already has 1 knot in it, which is great, because that's what we started with. But we don't have any way thus far of securing the active thread. Now you see me sometimes I pinch the tip of the thread. That just flattens it ever so slightly, so it's a little bit easier to get through the needle, because we're using size 12 beading needles for this. Okay, so to tie it off, I find it easiest if you flip your beadwork around, and then you're going to retrace your thread path just through some of these 4 millimeter beads. And after you've gone down a little ways, slip your needle under one of your thread bridges, pull it through, create a loop, and then a knot. Okay, go through a couple more beads. And repeat. And then you're able to trim off your thread. And I'm just using a pair of scissors. Go back, rethread your needle. Actually, my needle got caught on here. Well, I'm going to take care of that another time. Just got a little knot on the edge. Get a new needle. Okay, thread it onto your original tail. And that's why you left a tail of 8 inches, so you'd be able to do this. Again, work it through some of the 4 millimeter beads. Tie a knot. Continue. And then trim it off. So we have a really nice base bracelet here. And now we are ready for what is essentially the last step, and that is adding the center beads and creating the clasp. To do that, we're going to take about 3 feet of your thread. And we're going to place a stopper bead on one end. So a stopper bead can be any random bead you have. And I'm actually just going to use one of my beads from my kit. You're going to want to leave a tail of about 12 inches and just loop back through that stopper bead and pull. And a stopper bead is easy to just move around. That's about 12 inches. Rethread your needle. And now we're going to go all the way down the center, going through these middle 4mm beads. Go through. And then it's going to stop on that stopper bead. Pick up a 3mm bead and go back down through the next center 4mm bead. And what you're going to want to do at this point is you want it to just rest in there. So you might need to take your needle and scoot up one of your seed beads occasionally. Go. So you're going to repeat. And you're going to continue for the entire length of your bracelet. Okay, last one. And what you're going to notice as you've done this, your bracelet has actually curved a little bit, which is actually really pretty. So it makes it a little bit arched. So what we need to do is now add the ball part of our clasp. We're going to pick up 3 seed beads, this larger 8mm bead, and 1 more seed bead. And you're going to loop around and go back through all the beads except for that last seed bead. And then you're going to shoot right through that 4mm bead as part of your bracelet as well. So here we go. Creates a loop, and that little seed bead acts as a stopper bead up top. And now we're going to tie off this thread and weave in our tail. And you want to make sure you've pulled that nice and tight. I'm ready to trim off this tail. And just one more step. So at this point, remove your stopper bead. You can just get in there with your needle, pull it off, rethread your needle, and we're going to create the loop part of our clasp, which is what you see right here. To do that, add 24 seed beads onto your threaded needle. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. I apologize, it can be a little hard to see these cream seed beads on the white cloth. So now we're going to loop back around and we're going to go through the first 2 that we strung on and that 4mm bead as well. And when you pull, you have just created a loop. Work your thread in and tie it off. Okay, and trim it. And your bracelet is now complete. So you see we've got the loop, we've got the little ball up here, and then we have all the bead weaving in this chevron pattern. I do want to show you again just the different colors because they're all the same pattern, but they do look quite different, done in different colors. And then let me show you how the clasp works when you wear it. So you've got the loop and you've got the ball and you just slip it over it and it will hold like that. And that's a nice secure clasp for your bracelet. You can find this exclusive kit, which is the Chevron Right Angle Weave Bracelet Kit, at Beadaholique.com, along with a number of other exclusive jewelry kits.